All right. Very good. We're going to call the meeting of the Lake Arrowhead Community Services District Board to order. Please follow me in the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And Marissa, is the agenda been posted?
Yes, the agenda was posted on November 7th.
Okay, roll call.
Vice President Boydston,
Here.
Director Morris is absent, Director Reynolds,
Here.
President Warren.
Here. All right, now we have a opportunity for the members of the public to comment on matters that are within the jurisdiction of the district that are not on the agenda. So if some matter is on the agenda, we request you wait until that matter is called and then comment at that time, because that'll make your comment more meaningful. The board may not respond or may respond, but would not take any action on any matter that is not on the agenda. It's in the best interest of the person speaking to be concise and to the point. There is a time limit of 5 minutes per individual. Now, comments from the public are not comments by the board, the staff, or any employee of the district. So they are comments of the public, and it should not be construed as being approved, endorsed, or anything else by the board. All right, Marissa, is there any member of the public who wishes to comment?
President Worm, I don't think we approved number 5, the agenda.
Oh, okay, I apologize, okay. All right, are there any additions or deletions to the agenda from the board? No, okay, all right, good, so I don't have to repeat myself.
No, absolutely not. But we do have 2 public comments. So the first one will be Mr. Rundle.
Scott?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I want to say to the board members, I occasionally sit in a chair across the way under AWAC with being on the board, and so I know what you guys have to deal with sometimes, and I appreciate your willingness to serve even more now, as I understand it, just a little bit more. So thank you guys for serving. I appreciate that. I'm here as a ratepayer, just to ask a question, also as a board of director for AWAC. I don't know if anybody knows, I'm kind of informing, but ALA's done a great job of informing us of the issue with the valve in Lake Arrowhead and the valve issue, and they've gone to the state. Just to give you a little 30-second background on that, they took 4 or 5 people up to Sacramento the September 28th and met with 9 engineers from the Department of Safety and Dams. And they presented some ideas that may work because ALA is under ability, have to have the ability to lower the lake rapidly and up to maybe 70 feet. Okay, and the Department of Dam Safety, and I may not get all this right, but I'm giving you the high points, has the ability to come do that at any time, which would not be good for us. So we've got a dam valve problem. And the problem is the solution that's only been presented, that we don't have a solution. But the one solution that's been presented is somebody up in Santa Cruz that's done it, and it cost $100 million, and it took 5 years to implement. So if you extrapolate that in today's terms, it'd probably be $200 million in 10 years to get it done. So AWAC has just decided to throw a hat in the ring and say, hey, we're part of this whole group called Arrowhead Woods Property Owners Association. Arrowhead Wood Property Owners, who is probably gonna end up having to pay for this like they paid for the dam in 1974. And so we're seeking experts in the area of water, you guys, any hydrologists, engineers. We're gonna have a little bit of a party, an invitation only party, just to put the best brains in the room and just say, hey, what can we come up with? Because right now there isn't a current solution and there isn't a current direction, but there is a mandate from the state to be able to do some of this stuff. So we're kind of behind the 8 ball, and we need to work fast and we need to work properly. And ALA has put together a grant proposal for $400,000, but we found out that's a matching grant. So ALA would have to pay that too. So we have to match ALA members. And we see this rate as $100 million, which just scares the heck out of us. And we know there's people that have touched the valves, and people have seen the valves, and people have opened them and stuff like that. We want to get all those people in a room and see what can we figure out that can maybe bring that down to where it used to be like $10 million, or what are the other solutions possible? So we just want to publicly ask you guys, and the board and staff, if, you you have an expert that you think would want to attend that party. It's gonna be pizza, soda, we're gonna sit around and talk, and we're just gonna try and figure some things out and spitball, and people that do history tours, and people are engineers and hydrologists and lobbyists possibly, we need help from a lot of different people. So anybody that could be beneficial to that, I will reach out to you. But I want to do it publicly, so it doesn't look like there's any collusion or whatever we want to call it, between the two organizations. And we're also asking ALA to be involved, and they're already involved, and they're asking us, why are you involved? I'm like, well, because we're 10,000 people strong here, we should all work together. So that's just my public plea, just to say, hey, if anybody knows anybody that's super smart, or knows super smart people in Sacramento, or thinks they can add value to this, I'll give you the flyer here. It's almost done. It's gonna be next month. And we're just gonna be across the way for some pizza and soda and sit around and spitball and try and figure out a solution that helps the cause of all these 10,000 residents up here that like be dealing with something very catastrophic if we don't do anything about it. So, got it? Thank you.
Thank you
Appreciate
very
your
much, Scott. Thank you for the information, and sure we'll be hearing a lot more about it.
time. Okay, fantastic.
All right,
Okay, and we have Mr. Schultz.
Michael,
Good evening.
good evening.
Our community of Lake Arrowhead Woods is comprised of roughly 9,000 properties, maybe 10,000, as Mr. Rundle stated. And is operated by three main entities, LACSD, AWAC, and ALA. LACSD, of course, takes care of our drinking water first and foremost. AWAC takes care of preserving our forests first and foremost, and ALA takes care of our lake in a social club type of manner. This past year and then some, LACSD and AWAC have been bombarded with false and misleading information from a worldwide public website named Arrowhead Woods Informed. Our community residents are under attack and have been under attack in Arrowhead Woods for a while. This public website's authors, Garen Barthany and Ted Hike, also use ALA for email blasts to blast LACSD, our water company. The authors never blast ALA because they cater to STRs and outside investors, as does Arrowhead Woods Informed. Due to the fact that we exposed our false findings of this public website, we've been falsely accused of collaborating with LACSD. However, we received the same information that is permissible from the California Public Records Act, as do the two authors of this public website, Arrowhead Woods Informed. Our research shows that from November of last year to November of this year, Garen Barthany and Ted Hike requested public documents on average every 14 days from LACSD in the district. 38 responses have been sent from the district to Garen Barthany and Ted Hike. Through all of Garen and Ted's microscopic research to somehow find some type of negligence from LACSD had never occurred. They found zero negligence. That has been found with our water company. No negligence at all. Why does Garen state that our community, which is not his community, need to get rid of the board, GM, staff, employees of LACSD? Is he creating cancel culture in our community? Question mark. He is not even a full-time resident of Lake Arrowhead. His public website is plummeting our property values by giving the public his opinion and perception that our water company is somehow negligent in performing its duties. Multiple times, Garen's website states that LACSD is spending $6+ million of our money for a parking lot. That's a flat out lie. His website, Arrowhead Woods Informed, is no friend to our community and goes unchallenged around the world and creates a challenge for our community to combat his false and misleading information about our community of Lake Arrowhead Woods. Who would want to buy an Arrowhead Woods or visit as a tourist after reading that our water company LACSD is negligent, incompetent, and our water is deadly? No one. As stated before, my father was a pressman, and his main wisdom about newspapers was simple. He stated, if you own the information that goes out to the public unchallenged, you own the public's opinion. We are combating a public website that is going unchallenged. Our facts from last month's board meeting and opinions brought exposure to this cancel culture website, and it was not available to be seen as it usually is and does for the first time. LACSD has two battles to combat. Number one, PFAS. Number two, the cancer and cancel culture website, Arrowhead Woods Inform. Cancer comes out of my mouth because I have cancer. So what? Cancer is oblivious to the damage that it does to a community. So does cancel culture. Also, I'd like to address speaking in a third party. Lake Arrowhead residents wish to remain anonymous due to threats from certain people, which have included blackmail, legal letters, being possibly subpoenaed for no apparent reason, and fear tactics. Again, personally, I received a murderous threat from an outside STR investor, which is being dealt with accordingly. Now, we thank LACSD for hearing our frustrations and opinions, and we wish LACSD and the community of Lake Arrowhead Woods a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Michael. All right, any more comments?
That's it.
That's it, okay. Next, matter on the agenda is board member appointment. At today's meeting, the LACSD board has the opportunity to fill a vacancy on the board by appointing a replacement to the seat that is currently vacant due to the resignation of Director Steve Keefe. The district received 3 letters of interest. 1 letter has been withdrawn. So there are currently 2 interested community members who reside in District 2 who are eligible to serve on the board. The 2 candidates are with us today. All right. Anthony Dionis and Jackie Brown. So Anthony, Jackie, thank you for your willingness to serve. And
Thank you.
yes, and sometimes it's difficult to get people who want to serve, and it's,
We have to.
yeah, we have 2. Okay. All right. And we have 3 board members here, so there won't be a tie.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Now each candidate has an opportunity to address the board. We'll go with ladies first.
Thank you so
Jackie?
much.
You want us to go right up to the podium here? Okay.
Sure. Okay, I'm Jackie Brown, and I've been a resident of Lake Arrowhead for almost 37 years. And I have family up here that are my neighbors. I love it. I'm a grandma and a great grandma, and I recently retired, and I thought it would be great to serve my community. I've been an administrative assistant my whole career. Started out in special districts for the Northwest Mosquito Abatement District. There I was a one person operation, other than the field supervisor, the manager, and the superintendent. And I learned the whole job all on my own. I didn't have any training, and I was very happy with being there for 2.5 years. And I left to raise my family. And when my kids were in junior high school, I went to work for a general contractor who had his B contractor's license. And soon after I worked for him, he got his A license for general engineering contractor. So we did a lot of county work, Caltrans. We dealt with contracts and proposals and job, just everything to do with the job and getting the job with those districts. And then from there, I went to a trucking company who they wanted to get their military rights to haul weapons and secret tanks and stuff. So I'm the one that got all that going and handle contracts and all the security training for all the employees that qualified to get their clearances. And gosh, there are lots of contracts there too, all the military equipment. They just don't let anybody haul their stuff. I even got to go to Alaska twice hauling an M1, the secret M1. They were testing it for cold weather. So that was an experience, but those are my qualifications.
Okay, any questions, Bruce?
Yeah, I think questions. So you live up here full time?
Well, thank
And, why do you want to be on this board?
I think that with all my skills from the past, I could help serve on the board and give back to my community. I'm retired and I think I could be of service to you.
We get paid a large amount of money to do this.
That's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm looking for it.
It's a joke. So you don't have a problem. I'll be honest with you. Mr. Schultz brought up a good point in his speech that you know, we do have a lot of people outside that are not friendly with LACSD and within the last what year, maybe, I don't know, whatever it is, doesn't matter.
Mhm.
As he stated, and I read this or someone said this, I think, it's a bunch of garbage. Is what it is, and none of it has been proven true. It's absolutely false information. This district has been recognized for prudent, fiscally minded, whatever you want to call it. They're very fiscally minded here. Our employees do a great job of being proactive on everything they come up against, whether it be replacement of pipes to making sure that when storms hit, that nothing goes wrong. And staying out of lawsuits, which was hard to do in the past before we had the people we have now. That might be long-winded just to say that I think they're full of crap, if that's not a bad word to say.
And like
When
I
they
say,
put
there's
that on
poison
social media.
everywhere, you know.
So are you okay with people whatever, insinuating things? Because I'll be honest, there were 4 people looking for this seat.
Oh, is that right?
There were 4 people and 2 of them have backed out, and I believe they backed out because I talked to one of them because they didn't want to put up with that. They
As
just
long as you
didn't
don't
want
put
to.
a hit on me, I'm okay.
Okay. No one is gonna hit you. I guarantee. But I just want to make sure you're okay with that because, you know, it's a public office. We are elected officials of San Bernardino County. And, as above board and as transparent as we are, which we are very, you're still gonna get people saying things that aren't true. So,
I agree.
you okay with that?
I'm okay.
Okay.
I'm okay. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Wait a minute.
Oh.
Any questions, Bruce?
Not at this time.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Jackie.
No.
And our second candidate is Anthony Dionis.
Yes, sir.
How are you?
I'm good.
And thank you again for coming.
You're welcome. I know most of you by face, you two, you. I know John. I told John I hadn't seen him for a couple of years. The last time was in court, the courthouse. Steve, I got on the phone with, and he and I have known each other for quite a while, unbeknownst to each other's names by sight. But I served on a Alpine Water Users Association board for a while. And I enjoyed it. And Steve told me that this is not a 1 year, but a 4-year term. And I don't think anybody can get anything done in a year. A little bit of my background, I came up here from the beach in 1978 and really never went back. I had a client that had a house in Old Hamilton. And I was working on a track as a superintendent in Redlands. And he asked me, he said, well, I have another job for you. And I said, you know, Tom, I really, really like it up here. And I haven't been back to the beach since 1979 and haven't missed a day of it. Raised 2 kids. One's a nurse at a burn ward. One basically is serving in the same capacity as Steve Keep. As one of the board members. He's a real estate broker in Redlands. I spent a lot of time with him, not a lot of time with my daughter because she's in Nebraska. But I am also semi-retired. I went through OCS in Pensacola, Florida, became a commissioned officer, and went through navigation school and did 2 terms off the Enterprise, long time ago. And this month I would have been discharged 50 years. Actually tomorrow. And I got any questions? I don't know what else I can tell you.
Couple questions. One, have you ever sat on a board?
Pardon me?
Have you ever sat on a board?
Yes, I have.
What do you bring to the board here?
Initially, I'd be an observer. Over and above that, I got a feel for, what is important, as the gentleman from AWAC said, and I haven't heard a lot of, whenever I hear something, I try and go to a source that's reliable, like Steve Keith, because I see him quite often. But I understand it's in relatively good shape. I have a lot of experience in dealing with contracts, proposals, et cetera.
Steve? Any question?
Why'd you get out of the Navy?
I'm sorry?
Why did you get out of the Navy?
There was a point in time, probably just like when you retired, I can't do this anymore. My last, I flew with a couple of guys, one of which I still am close to. I was 22 when I started flying with this guy, and he was 32 years old, and I couldn't imagine myself at 32. And when I turned 64, twice that, I said, what the hell happened? You know, it was like a blur. And, but there came a time that I just knew I couldn't do that job anymore for the reasons I had when I went into the Navy. And I was a draft dodger. I actually beat the draft by joining the Navy. Number 127, Steve. That was a long time ago. John, question?
No questions. The only thing I would comment on is that if you are appointed, you do have to stand for election in 2026.
Not a problem.
So not 4 years, just 2. Right?
I've lived up here. I moved from Cedar Wood to Cedar Brook. Couldn't get out of the cedar trees. But no, this is a strong organization, and I look at in talking to Steve Keefe as well, and I look at the direction you guys are traveling, and I want to be a part of that. I want to see if I can add to that, and I believe I can.
Tony, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Marissa, do any members of the public have request any chance to make a comment?
Hey, can we comment on that? I'd love to, are you
Oh,
guys
yeah.
associated with?
There's none online.
No, not
Oh,
online.
I'm sorry,
Okay, but
I'm
go ahead,
sorry.
Scott.
You're fine.
Scott, yeah.
Don't know you two, doesn't matter. But are you associated with any websites that are?
No,
Against
I haven't been on a
the
computer. I haven't been on a computer for 5 years.
I didn't know it existed.
Perfect.
Didn't know it existed.
That goes in line with your thinking, I just, doesn't hurt to check.
But I do appreciate your comments.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean,
You're welcome.
our community first, I've been here for
Yeah.
5 decades and,
Wow, just getting started.
everyone here in our community, has been profusely attacked from outside investors. The beginning started with the Airbnbs, STR owners, and they actually come in to take control and basically have no respect for our community. And if they came into our community, like I would go into some other community and respected that community, they would gain back respect themselves. But since then, it has gone beyond and above any thoughts of attacks. And the neatest thing is, we have now formed coalitions throughout our community to attack back. And to go ahead and put down their false, misleading.
Any other questions for the?
No, I just wanted to,
Okay.
I just wanted to speak out of my heart.
Okay, right. Okay, so, now, if either Jackie or Tony want to make any final comments, responses to the public comment? No?
I don't think so.
All right. Does the board have any statements or questions at this time? All right, so, at this point of the proceedings, we're ready to, make a motion to appoint one, of the candidates. I'll make a motion that the board appoint Jackie Brown as the next director. So if we have a second.
I have a question.
Okay,
There's only three of us. Do we all three have to have to agree on?
no, it's majority rules. So there would have to be a second,
It's
and
gotta
then
Or an alternative motion.
Yeah, it's gotta be three.
it's gotta be three.
That's what I thought.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, all
Thank you.
three.
All three have to. Yeah.
So it has to be a majority
It's gotta
of
be
the,
majority of the board composition, which is 5 for
okay,
this
so it
decision.
does have to be three. Okay, thank you,
Yeah.
thank you, Joe. Okay, is there hearing no second? Okay, then I guess the table's open for an alternative motion.
You could have discussion as well, whatever you, I mean, it's,
Is it public discussion in front of the public or do we?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I've got, can we ask questions now too?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Tony,
Yes, sir.
you answered my questions. Jacqueline, I didn't think ahead far enough when this started, that maybe I'll have a question.
Okay,
It's the same question that I asked Tony. What do your resume is administrative is excellent. How do you see that work experience translating to what you think the board needs?
I just think that I could be there to help with contracts and purchasing a dump or a water truck. We've done that with, the trucking company that I work for, not water, well, they did have a water truck, but a construction company with it. I just think that I could be helpful with being on the board, with all that everything under my belt. No construction experience, hands-on, but contract wise, yes.
So, and Jackie, you've been on a board before?
No, but I, served when I worked for the special districts, I was the one that did everything to get ready for the board meeting, was there
Okay.
taking notes.
So you understand what goes into it?
Oh, yeah,
you know.
yeah. Look on the other side.
I've never been on it. Well, I've been on a church board before, but
Oh.
not one that makes sense.
Mhm.
But,
You also have the option to table until the next meeting. We have enough time if you want.
I don't
That's
know if
another
that
option.
changes anything. I
could,
don't know if that changes anything, it just brings another person into it. And with an opportunity for a tie.
New President, I did look it up, and I typically for all of our decisions, you have to have a majority of the body of the board. But as I was saying it, I was remembering that this instance had come up for me before. So it is up to a majority of the remaining members of the board. So with only 3, 2 people could effectually do that. And I'm sorry for misspeaking on that, which is normally all of our other actions require 3. But I'm just confirmed what I had some suspicions about, so.
And I noticed you're not wearing a tie, Joe.
I forgot my time. I forgot my time.
Well,
Would
if
that be the
you-
majority of
Of the remaining directors,
Wouldn't that still be three, because we have 4 directors remaining, not necessarily.
Well, we only would have one more.
I think, I mean, it's a good point, and I should have thought of this before, I mean, maybe it'd be safe, it would be 3. And that could be, you know, a reason to potentially table if you wanna have Robert here for the next board meeting or not.
Thank you,
It's up to
Counselor.
you.
My,
Thank you. If I had my tie on, I would.
If well, if you can
Yeah.
leave the tie at home next meeting, it'd be nice.
I have a question.
Yeah, I
Before you
think
go.
Catherine's probably, I think we should be safe, we should be 3.
I got a question.
I rarely hear them out.
So are you saying that the 3 of us can't talk about this for about 2 minutes?
Oh, private.
No, not privately, yeah,
Okay, that's is that a
Correct,
violation of Brown.
correct,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Council, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If there's 3 here,
And they are gonna ask Catherine or
well,
Joe,
I don't know. the
okay?
proper
They
procedure.
can all 3 agree.
Okay.
Proceed, yeah.
So I mean, I know ALA had a situation where they had 4 and they needed 5, and so it got tabled. But if this is a situation where you can vote and 2 can vote, then I think you should either do a new motion or whatever, so have a vote, let's have a vote. That's what, because these guys are here, but they may not be here next week because they don't like that, I don't know. So, you know, who knows? The time is now,
So we're sticking with.
With 3, okay.
Yeah.
but it's gotta be legal, it's gotta be proper.
And I would say, yeah. We don't, sometimes, and I've said this before, okay, I think it's not, sometimes we have problems getting people. So we've got 2 on the hook, okay?
Good ones.
I don't, in my opinion, we shouldn't go, let both of them walk out of here without an appointment, because we might not get them back. Okay? So that's my opinion for what we've been talking about. So anyway, there is a motion pending, waiting for a second. If there is no second, then the next procedure would be for somebody else to have an opportunity, board member to make a motion.
And then procedurally, if you didn't get to 3, then we would logically table it and we'd have another director here at the next meeting.
Yes.
Well, if we vote now, one of us has to agree with,
2.
All 3.
no.
Oh, well, there has to be a second, and then all 3 have to.
That's correct. So bringing in the second candidate doesn't help. So we've got 2 candidates. You made a motion for Jacqueline.
Correct.
I think Jacqueline's an excellent candidate. I think Tony, in a different way, is an excellent candidate. Different experience. Both live in the area. Both will do a good job. Neither has done it before. So I'll just go out and say, I'll second your motion.
Okay. The motion's been made, and seconded. Roll call vote.
Not on this, no.
Okay. All in favor?
Yeah,
Aye. Aye.
See,
Okay. Jacqueline, thank you. Tony, thank you very much. We
welcome, Eric.
appreciate it, and don't take this as a slight on you.
No,
Okay?
no.
I commend you for your willingness to serve and to, put yourself in the public arena. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right, now we have Marissa.
Yes,
Okay.
we're gonna do your swearing in, your oath of office.
Okay.
If you would go ahead and
You
stand.
gotta stand up for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Raise your hand. I, Jacqueline Brown, do solemnly swear
I, Jacqueline Brown, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of California
and the Constitution of the State of California
against all enemies, foreign and domestic, against all
against all
enemies,
enemies of foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution.
that I will bear
I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of California.
to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of California,
That I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion,
And that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
the duties upon which I am about to enter.
Congratulations.
All right. Thank you, Marissa.
Congratulations. Thank you. So you have opportunity to join the board. Oh, I can go and sit up there now?
Tony, thank you very much, Tony.
Thank you.
Thank you guys, gotta go play basketball.
Thank you. If there's anything that you feel that you want to abstain, you do not have to.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Okay.
See?
Okay. Do we have a?
This,
book for this?
here or there?
The book, yeah,
Sure, right here's fine.
right here is
Okay,
great.
I saw a computer there, so I thought maybe
Yes.
there's a ghost.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Worm. Thank you so much.
You want to show her how to use the agenda right there on your computer to tab back and forth, and then you have the copy.
All right,
Thank you.
so
You can share.
He doesn't want to give it up.
No, I will make you one.
So, next is the consent calendar. The following items are routine and non-controversial, be acted on one time without any discussion unless one of the board members wants to withdraw the only item from the consent calendar. So the only item on the consent calendar is approval of the October 22nd, 2024 meeting for the regular board. Anybody want to withdraw that from the consent calendar? No? Okay. Have a motion? Move this. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Next, we have information and discussion items. There's four of those items. So the first is the operation manager's report. Do we have any public comment on any of the matters?
We do not.
Okay, so but if somebody wants to comment on the PFAS or whatever, please let us know and we'll have a chance to comment. Okay. All right, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. Welcome aboard, Ms. Brown. Nice to have you. Appreciate your interest. So the operation manager report, this is my information item that gives an update on water delivered in the current calendar year. Begins on page 13 of the packet. And you'll notice on page 18 is where I put my notes to the analysis and the things that jumped out of this report here. October 2024, when compared to October 2023, there's a consumption increase of slightly over 20%. But through 10 months of 24 versus through 10 months of 23, the consumption is up 5.5%. So digging a little deeper into this, it's more accurate to say that we were down last year. Last year, 2023 was more of a down year. I went back 10 years, and over the 10 years, 7 of those years were right about 115 acre feet, which is what this year is. And there's only 3 years of 100 acre feet. So looking back, last year as well was also a cooler year. We had more precipitation. So that's really why that number jumps out at us. So lake draws down this year, as you gentlemen know. We've been purchasing more flow water this year. So that has lake draws way down. We're at about 700 acre feet. This time last year, we were about 850 acre feet. At this point, we're on pace to end the year at about 850 acre feet or less. Most likely less than that, so we're doing well there. Wells to the system, we're down this year compared to last year. We've been missing, well 5. That was it is our biggest producing well. That'll hopefully be online soon. The contractor's finishing up the rehabs project. We were without well 2 in the beginning of the year. That one's up. And right now, currently well 6 is down with, electrical and motor issues that we had from the last, around July 4th and into July and August. We had some, power interruptions that may have, faulted that motor. So we're in the process of troubleshooting that. Claw was up, like I mentioned, purchased this year versus last year, quite a bit, 300 acre feet versus about 40 acre feet last year. Clawa 2, that's the Room of the World turnout. We had that shut off last month on the 18th. And Clawa 1, we had to turn down from 200 gallons a minute to 100 gallons per minute on November 1st. So we're still bringing in Clawa, but just much less in the amount. And we're using that to help blend at Bernina and blend the PFAS down. It's been very effective. And recycled water delivered is 212 acre feet versus 153 last year. And kind of similarly, last year we delivered much less recycled water. And typically we deliver 215 to 250 acre feet. So that's everything that jumped out at me. So is there any questions that any of you may have?
Any questions, comments? Okay. All right. Thank you, Matt. Next, we have 9 PFAS report. Matt, you're still on, still up there.
President. Next is my PFAS update. This is beginning on page 19. So this is where we include any pertinent information or recent sample results, anything related with PFAS. So it begins on page 19. Page 20 is the map that we include every month that shows all the sample sites and the locations. If you might remember at the last meeting, I mentioned we had just recently taken a Bernina treated blended sample. And we were hoping to have the results and anticipating to have them by this meeting, and we do. And those results begin on page 22 to page 32. And on page 22 is the page that has the result I'm talking about. And that came in at PFOA level of 8. So if you can recall, we need to keep our locational running annual average below 10 to be below the California response level. And so that result was an 8. The previous quarter we took was a 6.3. So our locational running annual average right now is sitting at 8.8 and below the California response level of 10. So that sample is available. The results available in the packet and on the website. And also we took some additional samples that are required, our quarterly raw samples. We took those on November 6th. We took Bernina raw, well 1, well 2, and well 8. Those are the wells that are up and running. And those are required samples, and we do not have those results, but should have those hopefully by the next board meeting. We met with NTW, the design team and engineers for the PFAS treatment project. We met with them on the 29th to discuss their design, and then we just recently received 30% design submittal for the Cedar Glen water treatment plant PFAS treatment system. So we're in the process of going through that. We just submitted comments back to the engineer this afternoon, and that design is going well at this point. We're very excited with the team we have, and excited to hit the well before the mandated deadlines by the EPA to have these online and in place. So that's what I have for you guys on PFAS, but if you have any questions, I'd love to answer them.
Any questions?
I got a question on the PFAS, which we've been trying to detect where it's from, comes from, yada, yada. And since we just decided to test for the first time, like 2 years ago, our lake itself, where everyone's got their own opinion. But with me being someone who works outdoor in, I could say, the construction field somewhat. Since the 70s, the construction works that has gone on throughout the last 5, 6 decades, and the runoff when we get our water, and it all drains right into the lake, and everything's plastic bottles everywhere, everything that's just been left outside in the dirt itself. Just my opinion, it's just a natural, happening that occurred with, that's what we get. But that's just my opinion. I know we checked into every other type of solution or, possibility, but I just like reduce snow Friday supposedly, but when we get a rain, I just always just look at that, the dirt go away, and that, we know where that goes, right into the lake. But, I mean, that's just my final conclusion, but everyone's got their own opinions and everyone's looking for where it's coming from. I think it's everywhere. That's basically it. It's everywhere. And it's just come to notice, that now we know it's probably been there ever since the forties and fifties anyway. And especially with all the construction, but, it's just my opinion, everyone's searching for it, and in my opinion, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
That's that.
Thank you, Michael. Matt, are we currently blending water in from Clawa?
Yes, we're blending 100 gallons a minute at Bernina currently. We're blending 200 gallons a minute there, and we brought it down just based on water demand. Just the demand has dropped off since the irrigation season's come to an end, and so just operationally, yeah, backing down the Clawa purchase based on operational needs. But yes, we're still blending it down.
Okay. And so on page 22, under water resources, you have July 2024, a little bit over 50% looks like it would come from Clawa. Is that about what we're doing now, or?
No, we're doing much less. I'd have to crunch some numbers to give you an accurate percentage.
Okay.
But when this pie chart was done,
That was July, yeah.
yeah, we were bringing in probably 600 gallons a minute, six
Okay.
times the amount of Clawa that we're bringing in today. But we were bringing in 200 gallons a minute up until November 1st, which was recent, and then we cut that back to 100.
So with irrigation season, is that over the good then, right? Okay. So, I mean, when we were irrigating, we were blending water, which was going not into drinking system, but into the soil. So, would it make sense perhaps to say, okay, that during the non-irrigation season, would that be a good chance to use the Clawa water more efficiently for more drinking water, or?
Well, even during irrigation season, we don't know which molecules are going in the house.
Right, exactly, but some of them are going to irrigation versus household use, I guess.
Mhm. But we have to keep, no matter what, this average under 10.
So we haven't
Right.
broken down the molecules yet.
No,
Okay,
we're not
all right.
quite there.
Okay,
Maybe
and
next week.
any questions, other questions from the public, or
Yes, we had Mr. Vartanian join
Okay.
us.
Garen?
Hello,
Yes, go ahead, Garen.
the Battelle report that they were gonna produce early on, I think it was last year. Well, how much was the contract roughly? Does anybody recall how much Battelle was paid to do an analysis? I think it was 50,000, if I'm not mistaken.
I
You
don't know.
No idea. Okay. So the question that I have was, Battelle was promised, it was told that Battelle has special abilities, and they can trace the PFAS, and they can trace the analytes to sources. Did Battelle produce a final report on their conclusions on where the PFAS contamination was coming from? Did such a report get made by Battelle? And does LACSD have it?
Well, we moved forward without the full-blown signature analysis because according to them, our PFAS levels are so low, we need a combined PFAS of a minimum of 50 at each site to move forward with the signature analysis. And that's the analysis that they were talking about, would be able to give us more of a fingerprint, kind of more of an idea on what type of product that initially came from. So we did not move forward with the full-on signature analysis like we intended to, based on the fact that we were informed that our PFAS levels weren't high enough to move forward to that analysis. So
you're making the assertion that Battelle's signature analysis requires PFAS levels that are over 50 parts per trillion? And if it's below 50 parts per trillion, Battelle told you that their signature analysis does not work? They're not able to help? That's what you're saying?
Actually, they recommended that, yeah, that we do not move forward with that analysis because we don't have the levels of the PFAS necessary to come up with an accurate, conclusion with that analysis. So, yeah, that's what they informed us.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Garen. Any other public comments? No? Okay.
So you're saying that that was an assumption, like he was saying we assumed?
You said assertion, I believe, and,
Yeah.
but,
What
yeah,
an assumption though.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
just
we
want to
didn't,
clarify that.
yeah, but we definitely didn't make any assumptions.
No.
We had, full, anticipation of moving forward with the signature analysis to try to come up with, any sort of answer on where this might be coming from. And unfortunately, they weren't the only people to tell us, when they looked at our PFAS levels that,
Sure.
we're actually on the lower end of like a lot of these professionals on what they're used to seeing, so.
And they're the experts.
Mhm.
Thank you, Matt.
Welcome.
Okay. Have a happy Thanksgiving. Okay, next we have report, information item number 10, Nathan.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board.
Thank you for coming tonight.
Oh, of course. So just a quick update on our annual report for our cease and desist order. Some background information, the Lake Arrow Community Service District is subject to a cease and desist order, which was approved by Lahontan Regional Water Quality Control Board on March 13th, 2013. There are specific reporting requirements related to inflow and infiltration, INI, that must be met annually, outlined in the CDO. The 2024 and 2025 INI project plan due August 1st, 2024, and the INI project completion and outfall analysis report for 23-24 due September 30th, 2024. Excuse me. Both were submitted to Lahontan on time. Everything is pretty much the same in this report, but I do want to kind of highlight some of the projects that we continually do every year, just to kind of show you guys what we do to continue to strive towards achieving our goal to meet this requirement set by them. If you look at page 76 in your packet, there is just some CIP projects that we have, kind of showing what we do by identifying certain areas where we find INI, and then doing, you know, rehabilitation when we can, whether it's something that we can do, we'll do that, but a lot of these bigger projects we send out. But on 76, we have like our INI manhole rehabilitation. A lot of times, we will be actually sending guys out during these storm events. Hats off to those guys. They're actually out there in the rain, opening manholes, tracing this stuff down, take it very seriously.
Do they volunteer for that job or?
I think they all kind of know the drill. I mean, we try to really get them involved in trying to see this through, and we really kind of tell them the goal, and they get into it. Actually, they get excited when they find this stuff. So it's great. But it is a tough job, but we try to find as much as we can. We take that opportunity during those rain events. That's when we can really find this stuff. So we have rehabilitation that was completed on November 2023. And then on page 77, we did the North Bay slip line phase 2, and that was completed November of 2023. We also rehabbed all the manholes, as well as slip lining all the pipe there, just to eliminate any hazards for any spills or INI or anything for that close to the lake like that. On page 78, our Highland sewer replacement was just finished pretty recently. We replaced 1,640 feet of failing concrete pipe. Just kind of old, we're replacing that. We added 15 new manholes, and that job's completed. Eliminated some more sewer line there. On page 79, manhole inflow reduction, which we do every year. This does actually make a difference. A lot of these manholes do have pretty big holes in them to be able to access them, and those are impossible to keep sealed throughout the year. Snow plows will take off any kind of sealant, so having a gasketed manhole lid does really make a difference. One of the other projects on page 80 is the dam vault upsize. This was a big project as far as the bottleneck from 12-inch to 8-inch there. That project was completed in November of 23, and they have seen improvement in the flow from the treatment plant. Time will still tell how much that is, but they noticed that they don't have a lot of, they can push for longer as far as how much is going out of the outfall line down to our farm down there. So that was a great project to get done. We eliminated that bottleneck. Just some updates on rainfall for the fiscal year of 23-24. There was 54.3 inches of precipitation, which is 14 inches above normal. So with that amount of flow, so the final standard for the CDO is to reduce excess inflow by 40%. So to achieve that standard, the maximum daily flow from the district's collection system must not exceed 5.8 MGD, million gallons a day. At no time during fiscal year 23-24 did the collection system deliver more than 5.8 MGD to the combined treatment plants. The highest daily flow was 3.274 million gallons on 3/2/2024. So just to sum everything up in these reports, we continue to work towards this goal. It is our mission. We take it very seriously. We're very confident that we can achieve the 2026 standard of not exceeding the 5.8 million gallons a day. We've already seen great improvements, and that's my update on it. Any questions if you guys have them?
Any questions?
I got a question. So on page, we'll call it 42, the smaller number. So we spend a little over $13,000 a month on manhole repairs. Every month. Is that our, what we did in 2024? Read that right? Or what?
Well,
is that our projected?
these are estimated, yeah.
Oh, okay.
It can vary so much depending on what we find. Some years we'll have more than others, some we won't have as many. It's an average, basically.
And a lot of this is proactive,
Yes,
going out knowing that they're gonna be destroyed or they're gonna leak.
exactly, yes. We're always out, we do a lot of in-house repairs on manholes as far as, if we have to redo some concrete, and then generally we'll put that on a list for our rehabilitation for them to come in and coat that manhole.
Thanks.
Any question? Nathan, how long have you been working for the district?
Since 13.
Yeah, so you go back a ways, and I think by 2013, we had begun to realize, or we had begun to address these serious problems from Lahontan. So the entire time, 11 years you've been with the district, we've been addressing that problem, but it predates the time you were here. So I remember the serious trouble we were in, and we've gone so far to get out of that trouble. And a lot of it's due to, Mike and you and all, and your entire staff. So it's great to see these results.
Yeah, appreciate that. We definitely strive to eliminate this and achieve
And
this
we've
goal.
been successful at it, which, is critically important. Because we don't want them to be on us. And then in another couple of years, we're gonna be out of it.
I think so. I
Yeah.
mean, I think we can show that remediation of INI has become part of our culture here.
Yeah.
And we care about it, and whether we're under a CDO or not,
Yeah,
we'll be doing.
we're gonna
this
do
work.
it, yeah. I mean, we had a lot of rain, 54 inches is a lot of rain for us.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we're well below that maximum, daily limit.
Yeah, we did
And then-
very well.
I should have marked the page here, but I was looking at the SSOs, right? You go back, what page is that on? But you go back a few years, 5, 10 years, and there was like 70. And now it's below the last 4 or 5 years, 5 or less.
Yeah, I mean, it's hand in hand with finding I. We're out there TV in these lines, you know,
Yeah.
CCTV, and anytime we find anything, we try to repair it. If not a CIP project, we do it in-house. Whether it's spot repairs, anything we can do
Yeah.
to eliminate
Well,
them.
it's working. Keep it up. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Next we have Catherine.
Thank you, Mr. President. So just quickly, since from July through October, we have provided 126 PFAS water filter rebates. And they're still coming in, maybe not as many as there were, but and then the only other thing I have for you is our next meeting is going to be on December 10th. So it's a little earlier than we're used to in the
Okay. But then the next one after that is
Won't
back
be
to the
till
fourth.
January
Tuesday.
28th, so we're gonna have a big break.
Any questions? Catherine's report? No? No public comment?
No.
No? Okay. All right, very good. Thank you, Catherine. Next is on to action items, number 12. Consider accepting and filing the comprehensive financial report. John.
Thank you, President Warren.
There he goes. He unmuted
Okay,
himself.
sounds good. So starting on page 106 of your packet, we have the district's annual comprehensive financial report for the 23-24 fiscal year. We reviewed the district's year-end results at the September meeting, and this report and presentation covers the audit of those related financial statements. As you know, the district is required to conduct an annual independent audit. This audit and the associated report is then distributed to the county, to our bondholders, other interested parties. The district's financial statements have been audited by Van Lant and Van Cannel LLP, a firm of licensed CPAs. The goal of the independent audit is to provide reasonable assurance that the district's financial statements are free of material misstatement. And we have the contact partner, Brett Van Lant, here with us to present the audit results for us tonight.
Thank you, John. Good evening, Mr. President, members of the board. My name is Brett Van Lant, partner with Van Lant and Fankennel. We conducted the audit for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2024. And I have a short presentation to just go over the audit reports and the results of the audit. Next slide, please. So there's several reports that were issued as part of our audit. Most notably is the opinion on the financial statements. There's also a report on internal control and compliance that's required by government auditing standards. There's a report addressed directly to the board of directors, providing information about the audit, and then also a calculation of the appropriations limit. Next slide, please. So the audit report, which has the opinion on the financial statements, has different sections describing the responsibilities of the financial statements. The financial statements are management's responsibility. Our responsibility as auditors is to express an opinion and provide reasonable assurance that the amounts and disclosures in the financial statements are fairly stated in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. The procedures that we do involve our judgment based off of our risk assessment process. The risk assessment is a process that we go through to evaluate the risk that the financial statements could contain a material misstatement. And based off of that risk assessment, we respond by performing various procedures in our audit. Next slide, please. So the financial statements, we've issued an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, meaning we did not identify any material departures from generally accepted accounting principles. The report also describes our responsibility over the required supplementary information, which includes the MD&A, budgetary schedules and pension schedules. We're not stating an opinion on this section. We're just providing limited assurance. The report also describes our responsibility over the supplementary information, and there was no new accounting pronouncements that were required to be implemented this year. So that kind of describes the our audit report on the financial statements. Next slide, please. I mentioned the report on internal controls and compliance. This is required by government auditing standards. As part of our audit, evaluating the internal controls over financial reporting, if we identify any material weaknesses, significant deficiencies, or material non-compliance, we would be required to report it in this report. We did not have any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies to report, so this is a standard report issued by language in accordance with our audit standards. Next slide, please. I mentioned the letter to the board. This is a required communication in every audit that we do. It really just kind of is informational about the audit, brings up, identifies specific note disclosures in the financial statements, indicating that there's various estimates used. An example would be the pension liabilities are an estimate based off of actuarial assumptions that could change over time. So just bringing up some of that information to your attention. If we had any difficulties or disagreements throughout the audit, we would be providing that in this letter. We did not have any difficulties or disagreements, so most of this letter is standard language that's required by our audit standards. Next report, or next slide, sorry. The appropriations limit report, this is an agreed upon procedures that we perform on the district's calculation of the appropriations limit. It's an exceptions only report, so if there were any exceptions to the calculation, it would be identified in that report. We did not have any exceptions to that calculation. Next slide. So that's it. I just would like to open it up to any questions you might have regarding the audit or the audit process, and I'd be happy to take those now.
Any questions or comments from the board? And maybe John might answer this, but the pagination on the report is a little bit different from what our board packet is. So what page of the board packet is the letter?
The letter would start on page 131
131
of your board packet.
All right, thank you.
There's also some letters in the board correspondence packet
Okay.
from that.
Okay, all right, I'll take a look at that later on. Any public comments?
There's none.
None? Okay. All right, if there's no further questions from the board or public comment, we'll entertain a motion to accept the financial report for filing. Oh,
That's fine, yes.
all in favor? Aye,
Aye.
okay. The report is accepted and considered to appropriate to be filed. Thank you very much. Thank you, John.
Thank you, President Warren.
Appreciate it. And thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much.
Great. Okay, next is action item number 13. Consider approving purchase of one new fleet vehicle. Nathan.
Okay. So consider approving this purchase and consider declaration of one fleet vehicle as surplus and plan for disposal of the surplus equipment. It is recommended that the board of directors approve the purchase of one 2026 Peterbilt model 567 dump truck from Rush Peterbilt Truck Center. Secondly, the board of directors approves the recommendations to surplus unit 20945 and then send it to auction for disposal. The reason for this recommendation, unit 20945 is a 1988 Freightliner dump truck which is 36 years old with 224,433 miles and has exceeded its useful life. Unit 20949 is a 1997 Peterbilt dump truck, which is 27 years old with 129,807 miles and was already sold at auction last year. In interest of consolidating, the new 2026 Peterbilt dump truck will replace both units and will meet the requirements of engine upgrades per the CARB diesel truck regulations on this unit. Background, the recommended Peterbilt quote was obtained from Rush Peterbilt Truck Center through Sourcewell. Fiscal impact, unit 20945, fiscal impact will be $334,261.91, including tax. This vehicle is a budgeted item and will be charged to the 200 wastewater fund. The budgeted amount is $350,000. Let's see. Attachments, you have the proposal letter from Rush Truck Center in Fontana. And then on the next page, 203, it's the Sourcewell contract for that Peterbilt dump truck, basically the template that they use. Just some quick background, we have these two trucks. The 1997 Peterbilt was taken to auction last year. This truck was supposed to replace that one. This other 20945, the 1988. This truck is primarily what we use to haul debris down the mountain. We use it for picking up road base, asphalt, all that kind of stuff. This truck is getting pretty old. It's kind of getting to the point where it's questionable whether it's safe or not. It checks out every time, but it's just getting pretty old. So this one truck will do the job of both of these trucks. We won't have to purchase two. We just need the one. It's outfitted in such a manner that with the dump bed and the certain slide gates and everything it has, that it'll do both jobs. So with that, if you guys have any questions, I'll be happy to answer any.
Has nothing to do directly with this, but what is the spending limit for capital projects or assets that requires coming to the board for approval?
So right now, my authority is 25,000. Some, and public contracting code pretty much requires that 25,000 for like a CIP project, or a procurement of this amount. Some agencies have a higher threshold if it's a budgeted item, but we don't have that in our policy.
When do we take possession of this truck if we get it?
If we ordered it?
Yeah.
It all depends. Last time I heard it was 3 to 4 months, and that was a rough number. It constantly changes when we order something. Sometimes they'll say a certain date and then it'll be longer.
I was just curious, it's a 2026.
Oh, yeah, as far as when they spec these out, 2025 is not even an option. So they go all the way to 26 for some reason. So if we ordered this tomorrow, it would still be a 2026.
Any comments
We
from
have
the
a-
public?
Question from Mr. Virginian.
Garen?
Yeah, so if you guys go to commercialtrucktrader.com, you can get a brand new 2025 Peterbilt dump truck that's model 567 with the tandem trailer, brand new for $231,000. I know it's not a 2026, but it's a 2025, and we happen to be in 2024. So if you'd like, I can send the board the link, and you can have it next week for $231,000. You'll save 100,000, 120 and change. So I can send that to you, and I can help LACSD save $120,000. I'll send it to you, John, personally. You can verify. Peterbilt 567. It's got the same motor, same everything, brand new. It's just out of Houston, Texas, so it'll take a day or two to get here.
So question. So if we approve the motion, then that doesn't necessarily bind us into the contract, right?
No,
Okay. Okay,
we'll research it.
okay.
I got a question. We have a lot of, I'm assuming this, I thought I read this. Don't we have a lot of extra stuff that they're putting onto this truck?
They do, yeah, so I think it's priced out, so it has, just for the cab and chassis, the list price is like $273. The Sourcewell price is $205, that's just for the chassis, there's no dump bed, there's nothing on the back. And then they have, obviously, the gates, the slide gates, the dump bed, everything, added on to that price. So,
I guess what I'm asking, we have certain custom things that we're putting on this truck. Because we need them for the jobs that we're doing.
that's correct, yeah,
correct?
it is outfitted in a way that makes sense to work for both of these trucks.
Sure.
So we can still run up and down the hill, and we can also still use it on repairs. It has the special gates in the back where we're not just dumping a whole load out of the back, we can control how much we can put in the trench. You know,
It also has to
Right.
comply with California CARB rules too.
So
Yes.
any other truck
Yeah.
you bought, this equipment would have to go on.
yeah,
That's correct? Okay, so the comparison in the price given to this was not necessarily same comparison, is that right?
Well, we'll check it out. If
Yeah.
he will send it, we'll look and see.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it needs to qualify for California CARB rules too.
right, it has to be California legal, but we can make, if the board wants to make the motion, we can make the motion, approve it. But still, that doesn't bind us into
Yeah.
buying it, and if we find out we can get it cheaper elsewhere, then we can bring it back next month, right?
That's right.
we could certainly look at it, yes.
Yeah, of course. Okay, all right, so, but thank you for the information, Garen, we appreciate that. Okay. What? Entertain a motion,
I'll move to approve.
your first second. Okay.
It's my first
Yeah,
second.
right, okay, great, motion's been made and seconded,
Hardly understand.
okay. Vote, all in favor?
Yeah.
Aye, okay. Thank you very much. Okay, and thank you, Garen, for that information and your willingness to help. Okay. So that concludes the action items. Any board members want to seek approval to go to another meeting at another organization? No? All right. Any comment from board members?
I have a comment.
Okay.
That, I actually had to call ALA last week to check something out with my water in my house and a kid, I'll call him a kid because he grew up with my son, showed up and I didn't know he worked for ALA.
For ALA or
Or
LACSD?
LACSD, I'm sorry. Yeah, I misspoke. I don't know why I'm talking about ALA. LACSD, I'm sorry. And he came walking up and I was like, hey, he's like, hey. An orange shirt, you know, but I have to say, I knew this man when he was a kid. And so I thought, okay, well, see what he's gonna tell me, but he did a very, very professional job of checking out what I asked him, what I had asked the receptionist that I really looked at. And super knowledgeable, very professional, and sat and talked to me about the water system and the things that were going on. I don't know that he knew I was the director. He just knows me because of my son, you know, and I was very impressed by the time he left. And I actually called and told him, hey, this guy did a great job.
Thank
But I was
you.
very impressed.
Thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, at the job he did, I was really impressed. And,
Good.
anyways, I just wanted to say that it was a good meeting, because I thought something had gone on and you had done something wrong. But it wasn't, it was just something in my interior, so, which was a good thing. actually.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, anyways, just wanted to throw that out there. I was very proud of our people.
Thank you.
Good, a positive comment.
Very positive.
Thank you.
That's good. All right. Any other board member comments? No? No, all right,
Yes.
go ahead.
It takes them a minute.
Sometimes I have to think about it. this morning, right?
Well, I brought this up to Kat. I also had a great experience with a couple LACSD employees. Had a sewer, my sewer drain was not draining. So it was a Sunday. Place to call. And his name was Tanner, and Kyle was also with him, don't know the last name. But he said, well, I can be there in 15 minutes. He was actually there in 10 or 12. And they immediately went to work in the areas that they could actually work on. There are limitations, I learned. But they did great. There was there was some stuff in the main sewer line, but it was not causing my problem, but they worked and they cleared it. And even checked back 2 days later to make sure everything was okay. So, great people.
Tanner's last name Ryder. That's
Yeah,
who came
it's
to
not
my
the
house.
top.
Yeah, one of the writers. Ryder boys, okay.
Awesome, awesome hire, yeah.
Yeah, they did a great job.
Okay, any other board member comments?
No.
Okay, no, all right, sure. All right, so that concludes the open session of our meeting. We're gonna go into closed session. Do we anticipate nothing back to
We do
report?
not anticipate reporting out anything, and we'll just
Okay.
go in for the 2 items that are stated on the agenda as listed.
Okay. Everybody, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're off mute. Report out?
Okay, well, there's no reportable action.
Correct.
And then we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
I'll
Second.
My second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.